Hey everyone and welcome to Storytime. My name is Jake and today we are going to be looking at the subreddit r/idontworkherelady. So sit back, relax and enjoy some Reddit stories. I'm in a hotel and people are asking me questions and I don't know why. And oh. In fairness, I was probably the stupid one for not realizing what was going on. For a few years after college, I lived in another city and got to know the neighborhood pretty well, as one typically does. I moved out and not a year later, one of my best friends is engaged and about to get married near my old apartment. It's a black tie affair and I end up staying at the hotel where the reception was at, the ceremony being at the synagogue his wife grew up in. The bridal party arranged transportation from the hotel to the synagogue and back. We just had to meet in the lobby by 2 PM or whatever. I got downstairs very early for no good reason, and was in the lobby bored. I had only been dating my girlfriend at the time for a few months, and my invite didn't come with a +1, so I gave her a call. I put in a headset in one ear because I wanted to leave the other one open in case they announced that the bus was here, and stood behind some podium-like thing in the lobby. For the next 30 minutes, people kept coming up to me asking all sorts of random questions, like, how do we get to this museum? Or, what's a good place to get pizza around here? I know the neighborhood well, and I have nothing to do anyway, and I'm a helpful guy, so I'm answering questions, thinking nothing of it. Finally, after a good 10 to 15 of these, someone asks me if housekeeping can come up to their room later because of some reason or another. I just say, sorry, I don't work here. And that's when it hit me. I'm wearing a tux, I have an earpiece in one ear, I'm literally standing behind a podium, I'm answering questions about the neighborhood, and I have no obvious other reason to be in the lobby. They think I'm the concierge. Oops. Wow, that's gotta be a record, right? Like 15 people coming up to this guy and not a single one was entitled and started shouting at him. I was clearly not on the clock. But that didn't stop her from whining at me, ruining my shopping trip. Yes, I just so happened to work for a green grocery store in direct competition with Whole Paycheck. I was there on my day off, in jeans, a brown t-shirt with a single Apple logo on it, and Nike floral slides. She had asked me something else on the other side of the store, which was fine. I was happy to send her on her way. But this time we were in the bakery area, and she wanted the fresh baked muffins, but there were no bags. I was in mid-conversation with my roommate on our shopping trip when she interrupted me to whine about not having bags to put the muffins in. Okay? I already told you I was off the clock, so I told her what I would have told anyone else while I was on the clock. Go talk to the deli, they have bags back there. The sheer indignation that she gave me was ridiculous. I was off the clock, not even in the green shirt that is the uniform, and this woman wanted me to drop my entire shopping so she could shove a muffin in her already fat face? We didn't stick around to see her reaction much longer. How was she even going to complain about me? Good luck with that. California has very strict labor laws. If you are not being paid, you do not work. My roommate needed my help shopping. That woman has 2 hands. She could use getting a few more steps into her day. Still makes me mad just thinking about it. I feel like OP's probably having a bad day here. I'm glad that they ranted it out on this story though. The help. I was in a gas station grabbing the food off the rollers for my dinner that I missed because I had to work late. I was wearing a local baseball team's jersey. Both were red. While I made my choice, a lady walked up and said, "Oh, they let the help eat this too?" This surprised me a bit because I have been to this gas station in my work clothes that match the gas station uniform to the red polo. The one time I didn't expect to be assumed to be working was when I was in a baseball jersey. She mumbled something else at me. It was inaudible. I turned to the woman and said, "Excuse me?" That is when her face turned red and she squeaked, "Never mind." Seeing the window closing, I smiled at her and said, "I don't work here." They cut me off with a, "I know that now," and rushed off. I'm most offended I didn't get today, lady. Also, don't refer to people as the help. Yeah, I was wondering that. What does the help even mean? I've never heard that. Yet another wrong car story. I was outside a restaurant in Wellington, New Zealand, in the CBD area, waiting for a mate who had just gone upstairs to grab takeaways. He was gone for a little while, and this was a nice-ish restaurant on a Saturday night. I'm waiting for him directly outside the place with my hazards on, because I couldn't find a park, listening to very loud music as you do. Next thing I know, my back door is opening and two middle-aged ladies are helping an older lady, clearly a relative, into my car. No, "Hi, how are you my Uber?" Nothing. I'm a bit shocked and don't know how to react. Then one of the younger ladies gets in my passenger seat and starts drunkenly demanding I drive. At this point, my mate has returned with the takeaways and is standing outside the car. Turns out their Uber was the car in front of me, which looked nothing like mine, different colour, make and model, and completely different number plate. I was also blasting rap music very, very loudly, and that didn't seem to faze them either. They were pleasant enough once they realised, but god dang, never get into another car without checking. I'm surprised he left his doors unlocked, because if I was sat there in my car, I would just lock them straight away. Please get out of my car. This happened a little while ago. I was outside a bar waiting for my boyfriend to pick me up, driving my car, and I see this girl stumbling out of the bar and heading towards the road. At the same time, I see my car pull up and head towards it, but quickly stop as the girl opens the passenger's door of my car and gets in. Now, my poor boyfriend is so confused and is just staring at me through the windscreen, like, what do I do? And he tells her that this is not her Uber and that he's picking up his girlfriend. This chick is adamant, however, saying this is definitely her Uber because, you know, she ordered one and this had to be it. By this point, I'm standing at the passenger side door telling her she's in the wrong car, but she's now refusing to get out and telling my boyfriend to take her home. People are starting to come out of the bar and are watching this scene unfold. I'm at my wit's end because she's finally making a scene and telling me to go get your own Uber, and my boyfriend is yelling at her to get out. Finally, her actual Uber rocks up. She gets the notification and awkwardly stumbles out of my car. No apology or anything, and they drive away. To this day, I still find this so bizarre and hilarious. Wow, 2 car stories in a row. At least this time they were kind of driving so I could understand why the doors were open, but still, lock your doors. I'm not your driver and I have no idea why you would think I am. I had such a random I don't work here lady moment this past weekend. Nothing really crazy happened. I was in an Uber with 3 friends in Vegas, and we're on our way to meet up with some more friends. We pull up to the place and we all get out and start walking towards the entrance when some guy steps in front of me. He's holding his phone and smiling. He says to me, "Haha, we're the next ride." I didn't know what he was talking about, so I said, "Okay, have fun," and went to walk past him with my friends. He turns and yells, "We're your next Uber ride." I then realise he thinks I'm his driver for some reason. The driver is literally still in the driver's seat, and I just walked out of the car while laughing and talking with my 3 other friends, who also just got out of the car. I have no idea why he thought I was his driver. I just responded with, "I'm not your driver, dude." My friend started laughing and we just walked inside while he stood there just staring at us. I'm still confused by it. For some reason, I'm thinking this guy was like from the UK and he was in America, or he was an American going to the UK, or somewhere like that, where the driver's seat is on the other side, so he probably got mistaken. Jumping into the wrong moving car. So one day after work, my buddy and I planned to go play some disc golf, and he asked me to pick him up on the way. Some helpful background info here. We are both college students at the time, and I was driving a silver minivan. Also, my friend, let's call him Brad, is a pretty big stoner and can be an idiot at times. Anyway, I was on my way to pick him up, and while stopped at a light a block or 2 away, texted him that I'm about to pull up. So Brad goes to stand by the street to wait for me. Light turns green. I go forward and turn onto his street. Right as I'm turning, I see an identical silver minivan driving down the street at about 100 feet in front of me. I also see Brad by the street, watching this other minivan approach, slowly walking towards it. Immediately, I know he is thinking it's me, and knowing Brad is stoned and impulsive, know something is gonna go down. Unfortunately for the other minivan driver, he wasn't driving very fast, and also had his windows rolled down. So naturally, Brad, not looking too closely, thinks it's me messing with him by not slowing down, and he proceeds to start sprinting at this car and jumps headfirst through the open passenger side window. I cannot believe what I just witnessed and stopped my car, doubling over in laughter as half of Brad is still sticking out of this car as it slams to a halt. As he finishes squirming his legs into the seat, he then finally looks up at the driver and goes, "Oh, you're not OP." The driver happened to be some poor high school kid looking on in shock and terror at this crazy looking college kid jumped into his window. Not sure if he said anything as Brad opens the door, gets out, apologizes, and sees me sitting in my car laughing my butt off 50 feet behind him. It's definitely not an "I don't work here, lady" story, but it was funny nonetheless. I don't care if you just clean tables, open another register so I don't have to wait. This happened earlier today during my lunch break. I was at a local fast food restaurant, this is Chow King for Pinoy Redditors here, and I witnessed this. The mall just opened and I took my lunch break at 10 AM. As I go inside, I see 3 people already lined up to the register waiting to make their orders. I reach the line and wait. Not 3 minutes passes when I hear grumpy lady in front call the service crew cleaning the table. "Hey you, open another register." The service crew approaches the grumpy lady. "Ma'am, I said open another register." "I'm sorry, what?" "Open another register. I shouldn't have to wait in line. Why is there only one register working?" "Ma'am, I just clean the tables." "You work here, so you must know how to operate the register. This is unacceptable." The service crew member goes to the other register and fiddles and presses the screen. To Grumpy's lady's surprise, he doesn't know how. "Sorry ma'am, I just clean tables." He then goes back to cleaning tables. "This is unbelievable. What kind of service do you guys have here?" She left the line and we never saw old Grumpy again. Hopefully I don't see her tomorrow. I'm planning on having my lunch there again. That's some flawless logic right there. "Oh, you work at McDonald's, do you? Oh, you must know how to work the marketing department of the McDonald's Corporation, right?" Hey everyone, I hope you all had a really good day and that you enjoyed that video. If you want to check out some other videos, then click on screen right now or check out the playlist down below. If you enjoyed that video, then please do leave a like. And if you want to submit your own stories, then you can do so by joining the Discord in the top link in the description. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon.